First step is to loosen the headliner. To do that, you have to remove the trim above where the seatbelt goes. If you have a sliding window, it has a rail, so you need to pull the headliner to go underneath. Helps if you just bend these down as well. So I'm gonna go ahead, pull this panel out, pull the headliner down. You also need to remove these hangers to help give a little bit more slack to the headliner. So it's just an 8mm bolt. You just pull this flap down and remove it. It does have a tree, so you do need to pull a little bit, and then do the same thing on the other side. So from here, you have to pull down the door seal and pull this panel out. It is held by a rubber band sort of thing. I'm gonna leave it on, but you could just remove the bolt and remove this completely so it'll be out of your way. And then I'm gonna do the same on that side. Put the headrest down, and then I'm gonna pull the headliner underneath this little lip because of the sliding window. So now I have the headliner loose, and to get this spoiler section off, there is a total of 8 nuts and 4 bolts. So here's a better view. There's those 2 bolts, a nut right there, nut right there, and there's 2 more over there. And then same thing on that half, which I already removed. Once you remove all the bolts, it's still going to be held on by these yellow clips. So from the inside, all you have to do is get some pliers and pinch, and then it should pop off. It's kind of hard to get to, but if you can find this bolt, it's right above it. And then there's obviously on this side too. And now that you remove the spoiler, you have to remove the third brake light. There are 4 225s. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 that are T25s. And if you have a camera, either 2 T20s holding it on, whether you have the single or the dual. It's a bracket to hold on to the cameras. And you want to set that aside. Remove the wiring from the spoiler itself. There's some clips that are holding it together around this area. And then you want to take this with you because you have to trim a little bit. So in the box, I include these brackets. These are the S-tube mounting brackets. It's how you attach it to the OEM bolt location. So to know where to cut, it's best to line up this bottom hole, and you will essentially cut whatever is touching in this area. So just mark it off and trim this section. So I have it marked, so this is the farthest and the farthest, and you need to cut a little bit of the trim in the top. So I'm just gonna go from the side here, go up, go across here, and go down, and do it with the Dremel, and just cut it off. So after cutting the little bit off of it, you can test fit the bracket again, line up the hole, and you can see that it's good. It's go clear on both sides, and that means the S2 will be able to go flush against this. Now that we have trimmed the spoiler section, we gotta install the brackets onto the S2s. It might be easier to do this off of the third brake light. You take the S2s off and then place the bracket. So in the S2s should have included a bag with hardware, and in there you will use the M6 to go through here and bolts on to technically this top hole. Yeah, there is a little bit of play, so I'd made them a little adjustable just to help if it's ever warped or anything. They have a little bit of flexibility, up and down movement. So what I like to do is I like to do it tight and loosen it a little bit so it still moves, and then we're gonna install it on the brake light, adjust it, and then through. So I installed the bracket on here. It has a channel for the wires so you don't squish them or anything. So just put them in there, should follow through. The rock light cable, I suggest putting it underneath before putting the bracket on, so it just goes above. Kind of hard to see, but it's right there. If you don't do it that way, you would have to like go up here or go through underneath. I think it's just a lot cleaner going through the very top right here. And then, like I said, you want to do these a little loose so they still move a little. The reason for that is you want to fully install it, and sometimes the lights are a little warped, so once you fully install it, you can move it around to get the fitment good. With the mounting bracket being a little loose, you can adjust it by moving it either up or down to try to get it as good as you like. It's not obviously going to be perfect, but you can get it pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this, so I'm just going to go back here. So now that I was happy with that fitment, I'm going to go through here and tighten the bolt that's down there. I'm gonna tighten that bolt right there so that it's super tight. Take the whole brake light off and tighten the outer one so everything is super tight, it won't come loose. And then reinstall the center light and reinstall the brake light itself. So this third brake light had the dual camera. So this is a dual camera setup with the backing plate. Everything still fits just as OEM, same OEM angle. So now the only thing left to do is to do the wiring. This is how I decided to do it. There was a grommet on this side. We just cut a slit, fed the wires through, added silicone so it's still waterproof. Only issue is if you do it this way and not through the original where all the other wires are going through. Be mindful that it will be squished by here, and you do need to cut a little slivet so that both the wires can fit through and not cause any issues. Or you could go through original and put it all through the same grommet. I'd still put silicone just in case. The reason we did it this way is because the battery's on this side and we have everything wired to an aux beam. So for the wiring, so we have it coming out through over here, through here, up the headliner, across, down the passenger B pillar, and then in the passenger P pillar we had to go down through here, over here, and then as you can see, everything is coming out from this nubby that's right there. We just put a clothes hanger through, and then we found it on the other end and we pushed everything out. So right there, all the wires coming out of, that's both for the S2s and for the aux beam we have installed right here. So now we have the third brake light back on. You want to make sure all the wires don't get squished. There's not that much room, but everything really does fit, just really tight. So now it's just on here loose, held on by those yellow clips that we had issues with earlier. And now I just want to reassemble everything. I do suggest adding silicone back to these to make it watertight so you won't have any leaking issues. So we're gonna go ahead, redo that and redo the whole entire interior and button it all up. I do suggest obviously testing everything, make sure the brakes work and make sure the cargo lights also work. So here we have the light fully installed, put back together. Fits really nice. Again, this is a dual camera setup. So depending on how many cameras or what options you choose, it might look a little different.